crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just Bernie.
Hey, Bernie, just like last week, huh?
Weekend at Bernie's.
But it's WooWoo Wednesday. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Hans. Episode 38. We are back, and we're going to get into all sorts of alchemical topics tonight, from physical material science of electrolysis and monatomics, all the way to the dream state and the spiritual alchemy side of things. Mr. Hans, always a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Bernie. It's been a minute. I think the last time I was on was before I went to Alien Event and Biomed Expo. Maybe I was on after once, but
No, I don't think we've had you on since, so you should actually give us a little rundown of
that was got to meet David Hatcher Childress. Big balls. No, but super amazing guy. Had really amazing conversations with him. Everybody thinks of him as the guy on Ancient Aliens talking about alien stuff, but he's actually that's not his MO. He talks a lot about German sciences and travel, and I respected that a lot because he gets kind of a different rap being on Ancient Aliens. I got to hang out with Paul Stamets. That was super amazing as well as now I can't think of his name. Tom, damn it.
damn it to somehow.
Hold on, let me go into my email here. He's the guy that wrote the original script for The Matrix, and so it was pretty interesting.
Damn it, The Matrix.
Damn it, The Matrix. No, Tom Althouse, that's his name. Yeah. So props to him. It was really nice meeting him. He writes scripts, and Julia and I were hanging out by David Hatcher Childress' table, and he came up and he's like, I need to write a script that you guys are in. You'd be amazing in a movie. So shout out to Julia. That was so amazing. Anyway. But yeah, no, it was a great show. You know, we had a pretty decent turnout. My friend Colin Wolford came from England and talked about symbology in Star Wars, which I thought was fascinating. He had a 9 in the morning Sunday lecture, which I was surprised was a half full room for him. So, you know, props to the new speakers, because I think a lot of us are getting a little more credit than you know we know. And so, yeah, I had great turnout as well. I did a lecture on, shameless plug here, the Lost Mysteries of Kemet, and I was given an hour and a half. I actually went 2 hours because the woman who was after me was fascinated with what I was talking about, so she let me keep going. And then on Sunday afternoon, I did my Dropa lecture, which was great. Added some new materials into it because, again, I had an hour and a half, so I was able to access the last 15 slides in my deck, which, you know, I never get to talk about. So I think that was pretty cool.
Amazing.
Unfortunately, that wasn't recorded, but my Egypt lecture was. And so I could probably post the link. I got to find it in my phone, but I'll post it before the end of the show for the room that I was in. And it's like the full day of everybody in that room. But no, it was a great convention. You know, LA is kind of a love-hate relationship for me. I love it when I'm able to travel around it, but I kind of hate it when I'm stuck in a hotel for 3 days. And I was super stoked. My friend Alexis, she's an amazing reflexologist, came and hung out with me on Sunday. We had dinner together with her friend and just had a good old time. It was pretty fun. Anyway, I met her at Conscious Life Expo, and it was super amazing. She totally saw me, and I was having back issues, and she's like, "You're having a back issue right now," and I'm like, "How do you know this?" She's like, "You work on computers all day." I'm like,
I love real energy healers.
Like,
they just
totally intuitive. And then she's like, "I'm working on your arms," and so she grabbed both my arms, and I mean, she's petite. She's like 4'5", but man, she's got arms of a kung fu master, arms of steel, and very appreciative of her work. Yeah, and the other people that worked on me as well. that was Conscious Life Expo. But yeah, I blew my back out pretty hard. I don't even know how, but it happened. And then I missed 2
It
flights.
does happen.
It does happen. But otherwise, yeah, no, things are good. Working some crazy new jobs, working all the time. So sorry we kind of misconnected a few times in the last couple of weeks, but
Worries. I also have been working a lot, so I know how it goes.
yeah, I just pulled a 12-hour shift today. Good times. But enjoying it, and I love servicing others with my design, because as long as they appreciate it, I'm totally down to help them out. So
Right, and that's what it's about, and getting appreciation for your craft, for your art, and especially in 2025, right? Because
bingo, this is the year of the snake, so we need to shed our old skins and build our new skins. Talking about symbology there, the year of the snake is an interesting one.
do go on.
Oh, well.
Does it tie into the Naga and
For
like,
sure. Well, what are the Naga? So the Naga protect the earthly realm entrance of Shambhala, or Shambhala and Mount Meru. And so it's interesting that they are the earthly realm protectors, half snake or half dragon, half human. The only movie I've ever, 2 movies I've ever seen one in is, I guess there's more than 2 movies, but any movie that deals with Medusa. So Medusa is often depicted as the lower torso of a snake, upper torso of a human, but her hair is also, snake tentacles. So she is interestingly depicted as a Naga. But if you ever watch the movie The Golden Buddha, the Golden Child, with Eddie Murphy, in that movie, he is taken into basically a shop, into the back room, where he's introduced to this woman behind a screen who's kind of giving him his future. And he comes back and he tears the screen down, and she's half serpent, half human as well. So here's this Naga depiction in this movie, which is interesting. And she was said that her parents or grandparents or grandmother was raped by a dragon. And so that was how she got her half dragon, half human situation.
And where was this story based from?
This is in Golden Child with Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
Interesting.
I've heard similar stories out of the Superstitious Mountains.
Okay. Where are they?
I believe that is Utah, but no, Arizona, maybe. Somewhere in that area.
Region of the Rockies offshoots. Interesting.
Yeah, the Badland Mountainous area.
Is that, the Rockies go all the way to Canada and all the way.
Superstition Mountain, so it's off the Rockies. Maybe Nevada. I think it's Arizona. Maybe even New Mexico, but I think Arizona. It's in the Spanish Mountains, I think.
Love to see New Mexico. There's just some amazing spots there that I've never seen. This country is huge. So is Canada. And, we don't realize, because we're all stuck in cities and we get on planes and we fly to the next city, or we get on a bus, and sometimes we see some of it. But both America, can't call it America, United States of America, because America is the whole continent. America.
The disunited states of America.
Yeah, United States and Canada, we've got some amazingly beautiful country. If anybody has driven coast to coast, you'll know.
Oh, absolutely. It's wild out there. There's a lot of wild lands still as well.
I've only seen British Columbia, Alberta, and
that alone is a lot.
What's next to Alberta? Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan, you just it's you can see straight through it,
Oh
even
God,
though it's a
no
couple hundred
hills.
or
it's
a few
it's
hundred
all dry fields. Yeah, no, it was kind of weird. We were
flat.
way up. We were way up on the border, Lloydminster, for a basketball tournament. It was province wide, and some of the kids came over from Saskatchewan as well. And God, Lloydminster is in the middle of nowhere. Let me tell you.
Oh yeah, there's pretty much every Canadian town is in the middle of nowhere.
You drive from Calgary to Red Deer, and then you cut northeast like hard. And we were driving through 10, 15-foot snowdrift plows on the side of the road that were insane. Middle of the winter. Yeah, it was a crazy time, but
Oh, the blizzards, it's so crazy, them roads.
I don't miss the 5 inches of ice though in Calgary with all the hills.
Oh no, and thankfully we are officially in spring and there's just so much sun that even when it snows and freezes each night, it melts during the day, so it's nice out.
I do miss it, but I don't miss it.
Nobody misses it.
Calgary's got some fun things to do, man.
It does. It does.
I biked for Norba for the year that I lived there, and so our biking team, mountain bike, we biked all over Edmonton, Red Deer, Banff, Canmore, down into Montana. We did
Very nice.
Two places in Utah, Colorado, Steamboat Springs, and Durango. Durango is beautiful. That's one of my favorite spots. And then Mammoth Mountain in California, and then back up to Oregon around Hood. And then that was it. It was an amazing tour. It was during my summer before I went back to Nepal, my senior year. But yeah, I had a fun time. Broke my pedals off my bike at one race. I don't know how the hell I did that, but that was fun. I've had some interesting accidents for sure on mountain biking, but not for lack of trying, right? You gotta power through it, damn it.
Yeah, not sure. Absolutely. We're all sure in Canada. We're just like, yeah, hey, it's just down that one highway number one, eh? It's
right at the tree.
but there is also, the number three. Usually it's like the old number one, and it's usually south, right along the border. So when America finally does invade Canada, it's probably going to be through the number three, and our resistance line will be on the number one. We got to keep the number one. Anyways, that's just
come on, man. The Mounties will hold.
America would never invade. But then there's also always the number twos, and they go north to south parallel. So really, we do have three highways per province, usually. Just saying.
Yeah, but those American troops don't get past the Mounties. Come on.
Well, that's why it's the number 3A. It goes horizontally from north or south, or not north to south. You cross the border north to south, then it's the number 3 right there, and it goes east to west, and it's a parallel along the number one. So you guys would just take that and take all the small towns first, and then that's how you'd come up at us, eh?
I think they come up by train.
Yeah, the train, and there's a number 3 train that goes along too. It's called the Crow's Nest Bus.
Yeah.
All right, eh? So back to symbology and alchemical symbols.
Yes.
This one I'm loving, but I see circuitry, but I see electrochemical circuitry, and that these are actually
Saturn is different than it usually is portrayed. Saturn is usually the cross with an H.
Right? And look at gold. I think gold's closer to what Saturn usually is. Interesting.
Well, gold and Saturn are both the same in a sense.
Well, gold and the sun are supposed to be the same.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's sulfur and Saturn. Saturn is
You froze up, Bernie. I'm gonna go off screen so you can find your way back. Hold on.
Lead. No, oh, shit. It was like I was giving away too much alchemical golden knowledge right there.
Yeah, you were.
Right? And they're like, no, you cannot give these it's essentially the God code. There's no other way of saying it. It is the building blocks of the universe. It is how elements and energy break down in structure, and it happens through water, metal, and salt, and a little bit of electricity. Like, look at Uranus. Is that a man with, or a person with hands and legs and then an open butthole? I don't know. That's kind of funny, but no, that looks more like a circuit to me, as they all do.
Or parts of circuits. Yeah.
Exactly. Pieces of it. Pieces of circuits, and that I'm going to be plugging in these, see Earth, right? We're in the crosshairs, sun, it's the right hand rule, gold. Oops, can't see me.
Interesting. That's also the sun within the sun, and so that's
exactly, the dot within
the black
the outer circle, and
Kemet.
The crescent, the moon, the force pulling on one side of us, whichever side it is of the crosshairs that are us, and the sun being our main pull towards Mercury. Oh, look at that. It's how the field bubbles interact with each other and hit the... Oh, this makes a lot of sense. Ding, ding, ding. Bernie had an epiphany breakthrough, but it'll be published soon enough. Anyways, fields of the planet electromagnetic gravitational bodies, and you see Mercury here, the half circle above.
Yeah,
that's the sun. That's the sun, and then you've got the plus. It's giving its field to Venus. Venus, a bigger field, and then that plus goes down to Earth, which is the center of these bubbles. Then you got Mars, next one,
which projects back, which is
exactly right. And then Jupiter, it's its own line. That's its force around. And then Saturn goes out. Uranus and Neptune, complete different circuits. Very interesting.
That's
very interesting for force vector equations when measuring the heavenly bodies in relationship to each other. And that's where astrology actually has physical electromagnetic forces at play.
Why is Earth on there twice? Oh, as an element. So it's in the center of the second aisle as an element. I see. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and Earth is more, you can see that instead of Earth, think solid. Instead of air, think gas. Instead of water, think liquid. And instead of fire, think plasma.
But look at Earth and air. It's as above, so below.
Yeah, Earth goes down, air goes up. Water goes down, plasma goes up. And plasma goes all the way up, water goes all the way down. Air goes in the middle, Earth is on the bottom middle, right? So they're showing you the force vectors of the states of matter. Plasma all the way up, then gas, then your solid, then your earth, then your water, all the way down.
Then lead has a radioactivity to it.
Yeah, good call. And look at copper, how it connects in two double circuits to your electromagnetic fields.
Brass is a base, conduct. tin does conduct only across one surface. Interesting.
Right?
Interesting.
This is absolute alchemical gold breakdown right here. Okay.
Vinegar is an elixir. Oh, that's interesting. Mortar is a base solid that, salt.
Sulfuric acid.
Wow, send me this, man. This is a good reference.
Oh yeah. Look at vinegar. It's like an electrical plug up.
Look at olive oil.
Quicksilver, aka mercury. Oh yeah, olive oil, exactly. And it's the bond, exactly. It's what connects all the nanoparticles together. That makes so much sense.
And ammonia break.
So when you're thinking, when you see the elements and mineral salts, metal symbols, think in terms of the electron valence bonds and the electron orbitals and how they form with other chemicals and other particles. And here you have your electrochemical force vectors. And that right there is highly advanced electrochemistry, cold fusion-ish of the actual how the universe and matter structure and the lost knowledge of the ancients and why alchemy was suppressed.
I'm kind of curious looking at this about the Vonage manuscript and all the different symbols.
Ooh, good call. Very good call.
Still undeciphered, but yeah, there's like plant magic. There's a lot of stuff in the Vonage manuscript. Not sure said earlier life, something about life, and my saying is life gets in the way of living it, and so sometimes it does.
Quite often, right? But that's just how finds the character of a human, the overcoming adversity, because the universe will constantly
It'll
throw
throw
doors at
some
you.
weird scenarios at you. God, I'm so used to working on my lower computer, I didn't realize my chair is like super low. There we go.
Look at what we got here. Here's another golden one of they spelled water
So
wrong.
where did all these symbols originate from? What's the etymology of the symbols? That's
Well, right, and it's like they find these symbols literally in Sumerian text, in Babylonian, in Egyptian, in Mayan, in Olmec sites. They find it in
Petra.
Scandinavian. They find it in the Indus Valley. They find it throughout all of Asia. It's literally the oldest language, some pictographic
Yeah.
language in use, and that it's the same symbols throughout all of history, and it's still used today and taught in the occult secret societies of the mystery schools. What do they know?
It's the right? Exactly. Oh, now we're on camera doing it. Damn it. Anyway. Guess I got to cover one eye. Yeah, anyway. All those stupid memes of celebrities. Oh, you're part of this or that because you're doing this symbology. But there's some truth to that, weirdly.
I forgot to give the disclaimer before we started that as written literally in all the ancient alchemical texts, that if you are not initiated and you come upon this information, you need to not speak of it to anyone and give it directly to your king or monarch ruler, or punishable by death. So don't kill us, stupid, creepy monarchs on
Giving
the
any psychology or medical suggestions. Anyway.
Oh, definitely not that. This is
So a lot of this is interesting. Maybe we jump into dreams all of a sudden, because I had dreams when I have crazy dreams often. Many of them I don't remember, but the ones I do are obviously the most prolific. And in dreams, when I was younger, especially when I first moved to the States from Nepal, I had a download series of dreams where I would be in the middle of a dream and this character that was bald, beard, and wearing a cloak. I've drawn him in one of my sketchbooks, and he had a sachet that had symbols on it. But he would like pull the screen of my dream aside and say something to me in a language I couldn't quite figure out. And behind him was always a symbol, and I would wake up and draw down these symbols. And so I had 13 dreams like this, and I wanted to do a tattoo series up my back.
You need to. That's amazing.
But when I started showing them to people, I realized that they would be specific people I would meet in my life. And two of my friends have two of the symbol tattoos on them, which is fascinating to me.
Amazing synchronicities.
But when I told my father this, he said, "That's your grandfather or your great-grandfather, his grandfather." And so my great-grandfather was a mystic. He was a sage. Yes, he was a 33rd degree Mason. He lived in, he was German. He moved to the United States in the 1880s, I believe, 1890s, 1880s. And he helped start the San Francisco Bakery. And then he moved that to Juneau, Alaska, and started the San Francisco Bakery there, which then became the bakery of my family's last name. So, which is interesting. And then my great-grandfather went and lived in the woods outside of Juneau. He lived in this little tiny cabin down by the bay, basically, in the middle of nowhere. I've been there. And he would teach my father some really interesting things about, the history of the world in a sense. And I think this is what spawned my father to get into anthropology and to travel around the world. But for my father to say, "This is your great-grandfather showing up in my dreams," I thought was super fascinating, because I've never had that since. I've had some really interesting dreams. I could show those symbols if you want to see them. I don't know.
Yes, please.
Give me present.
Definitely do.
Video file, share screen. Share screen. I don't know if I'm sharing. Allow StreamYard to see your screen. Yes. So I'm not sure. And the browser can't access your screen. Try capturing a different screen to see if it continues. Well, I don't have access to it.
Yeah, I think some might be runes. Or runes might tie into it.
I'll send this to you as a screen grab in the chat.
Okay.
If that works. All right.
Maybe not.
I hope this works. Copy the clipboard. We're doing this the old-fashioned way, folks.
The old-fashioned digital share.
My chigne won't let me do it. Anyway,
Or not.
Why can't I present image file? Oh, maybe that's what I need to do.
Maybe reload or
let me screenshot, and then I'll see if I can present the image file. That would be pretty amazing. All right.
Can you just load it as an image file?
I tried to. It doesn't let me load it.
Oh, instead of that, just share screen and then go to window.
No, I got it. So,
Uh-huh. There we go.
so I put them all in a circle, but on the right,
Yo, this is what came to you in your dreams?
yeah. So every
That's
this
freaking
character
epic
would
and
wipe
wild.
the screen, behind him was a different symbol, and so I would wake up vivid. I'm in art school. I'm like, wow, I need to write this down. And it's the only time I've ever dream logged because I don't know why I don't dream log, but yeah, these are what came up.
Absolutely epic, Hans. Hans, you just got like magnitudes of level cooler. Not that you weren't already magnitudes of cool above the average cool guy that is on, a level of exponential coolness, but you just became magnitudes of cooler, even more so. Like they almost look alien, but not. It's
Right,
like
and that's
like
it's like
electrical
the
or
language
plasma.
is
It also reminds me of stuff that you see in like Macronesia style, or maybe Hawaii-ish, maybe like one of the, or
so
maybe it's like
each, each
Ronga
one is
style.
set up to hold like the egg, like the one on the bottom. The one on the bottom actually is a
Yeah.
tattoo. The
Oh
tattoo
yeah.
I got after my accident to help balance because it's balance. But they all have the capacity to hold this spherical egg shape, and
Yeah,
so
man.
I don't know what that was all about, and I wish I could have deciphered the language that was being spoken to me, but my father was very prolific in saying, "This is your great grandfather speaking to you," and he's not speaking to you in German; he's speaking to you in the old German
This
tongue.
is like plasma great grandfather kinetic shit. This is wild. Is this the ancient lost language? Could be. Like they all are in pairs. Yeah, I believe so.
Anyway, just something I thought was
Like the coolest thing ever. Like this Hans, we and like look at how it's like a ball, but it's like a plasma ball. Like this, man, man.
well. Each one has a different frequency, and that's kind of how I know.
Yeah. How do we calculate that frequency?
Hence why I put it in a circle. It was like they're all circulating around this energy, and so that's the question: what is this all about? But since then, I've had some really interesting dreams. So I went back to Nepal. God, when was it? 1998 for my thesis and my internship. And while I was there, I had a dream before I got there. Okay, let's just put it that way. I dreamt that I was in a place that was familiar. I think I brought this up on the show before, where I knew the environment that I was in. It was a pub. The lighting was a specific way, and I knew the people that I was with, but I didn't see them in my dream. I felt their energy. It wasn't like I knew I couldn't see faces. I saw their energy. And
Yeah.
through the door walked my ex-girlfriend from high school. I won't give her a name, but super fascinating. Carolina. Okay, I won't give her last name. But so she walks through the door and I wake up. So here I am in Nepal. It's probably end of February. So it's the end of the Australian Christmas vacation or summer vacation, basically, because their seasons are flipped. And we're all hanging out, myself and a bunch of alumni from Lincoln School where I went to in Kathmandu. We're all hanging out with this kid named Ozzy David. And he knew nobody, but he had met a bunch of these kids in Tamil, which is the tourist district that we'd always go down to and hang out at the pubs. And his father had been working there. So he was there, he's like, I'm here for 3 months and I don't know what to do. And so he started hanging out with all these alumni and other kids from Lincoln School where I went to school. And it's interesting because we all decided the last night, it was like a Sunday night and he had to leave Monday morning back to Australia. Let's take Ozzy David out and give him a good time and, good conversation, whatever. So we all end up at the reggae pub in the middle of Tamil. It's on the third floor of a building, hotel building. There's like apartments or whatever above it. sort of toward, I want to say, the east side of Tomel. So you're right when you're leaving Tomel. So we're all hanging out. The lighting seems really familiar to me. The people around me are alumni that I went to school with, my own class and other classes. And wouldn't you know it, Ozzy David turns to me and he's like, Hans, you know everybody at Lincoln School. I'm like, oh, I don't really, because I only know, the people here and a couple of the kids that are still left, but there's so many people that come and go. I don't. And he's like, well, did you ever know Carolina? And my mouth hit the table. Because all of a sudden I'm back in my dream and I'm in a familiar place, the reggae pub. I'm with people that I know by their energy, my alumni friends. And it was as if she walked through the door with him asking that question.
Right? Like just like boom.
Boom. No, it was huge. So another interesting one that I had years, actually, I guess it would be 2 or 3 years after that. I was working for Barnes & Noble on Broadway here in Portland. It's now sadly a Goodwill of all things, but it used to be a Barnes & Noble bookstore, and I had just taken my manager basically to her car. So a couple of years before that, when I was still in art school, I had a dream that I was in the park blocks of Portland, and in the park blocks, at the end of the park blocks, the southern or the northern end of the park blocks, there's a building with a fish, a salmon that goes through the building. It's the artwork of the building. And I got mugged by 2 guys in a bicycle in my dream.
Damn.
Up against the wall. And in my dream, I pushed my way out of it and threw it and exited. Okay. So here I am at Barnes & Noble. I'm closing down, late shift. It's 11:30 at night. And my bike is parked by a tree outside the front on Broadway. And so I go outside, I'm unlocking my bike, and this drunken guy with his bike is approaching me. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of stuck. If I move backward, I'm kind of locked into the bike rack. If I move forward, there's a tree in front of me, and this guy is pretty much veering toward me. And he reached out, tried to grab my bike, tried to grab my backpack. He actually ended up ripping my backpack open, and a couple items fell out. I grabbed them as quick as I could, and I pushed forward because in my dream, I knew that I had gotten out of this situation by pushing through it. So I went across the street to Safeway. I called the cops back when they were worth something in this town. And within 10 minutes, they had called me back, and they're like, we think we found your guy. We followed tea bags all the way up the street because he had the one thing I didn't grab was a box of tea, and so he was throwing tea bags as he walked up the street.
Like, what I was just asking to get caught.
Oh,
like, here's my trail of tea bags.
Of evidence, trail of tea bags. Anyway, so that was a second.
Mind blown? Do you want to have your mind blown 13 times over?
Sure. Yeah. God, please.
Have you ever realized that each of your characters is a 13, which is 2 3s that are inversed from each other, and then a perpendicular 1. It is a 1 3 3, and each one contains a 1 13 with a intersecting 1 and 2 inverted 3s with each other.
You just spent the time to go through all those, huh?
I saw it instantly. I was like, holy fuck, there's 13 of them, and they're all 13.
So 13 is an interesting part of my family. So my grandfather on my mother's side, so my mother's father, my granddad, he was a lumber salesman in the 40s. So all the beautiful, lush Oregon lumber, sadly, he worked for the companies that cut all the trees down and planked them, but he also sold raw wood all over the world. And so he went to Shanghai, he went to Japan. He sold a lot of lumber. Japan, as they bury the trees that he would sell underwater, so they have it in the future, which is fascinating. because they don't have a lot of lumber there. But he was in Shanghai right before, during World War II, they bombed Shanghai. And he was in a hotel downtown, or his flat. It's now a hotel, but when he lived there, it was a flat. And he had no way of getting out of Shanghai. The last boat that left was on Friday the 13th. I'm not sure what month, but fascinating.
Your angels will protect you if you need
The
to
only
escape.
cabin available on the boat was the 13. Okay. And my grandfather had 1300 in his passport number. And so he was like, I'm going to take this last chance. It's an unlucky number, whatever. I'm doing it. If he had not gotten out of Shanghai, my mother would not have been born. So that's why it's an interesting numerology in my family, not just for me, but even my sister. So it's not one of my numbers.
It's intricately entwined into your interdimensional epigenetic ancestral plasma existence. And
how do I stop sharing here? I think you might need to cancel.
I need a copy of that. It's mind blowing. It blows the mind. And I want to see if they correlate. No, maybe not. Maybe where the points. So I want to put your circle over top of each one of these and see which set. Oh man, that would be so wild.
God, please send me that. Yeah. You brought it back up.
So that over top of each one of these. And if they freaking connect, you got the sacred 1313 geometry. That's
I've always been fascinated with why 13. So that one has been really interesting, and so maybe it's the
dimensional sky.
Okay.
Maybe it all.
Oh, you frozen again. I'm gonna go off screen. Hold on.
It was like, Bernie was dropping too many connections.
Too many connections, damn you.
The 13 lunar cycles and the 13 zodiacs in the luminary sky, right? Let's connect to that.
So there are 26 vertebrae from our neck to our sacrum, which is 13 times 2. So it's the spaces in between. Like I said, I wanted to get this tattooed on my back. So
I want to get this tattooed on my back too now. Yeah. Hans, you got magnitudes of level like that. Your whole family is absolutely epic.
We're a bunch of oddities, my friend. We're a bunch of oddities. Somebody asked me the other day where I'm from, and I'm like, the only way I can answer, it's such a loaded question. I'm from my mother, I'm German, I'm Dutch, and I grew up in South Asia. Where am I from? I'm from this planet. We all share it together. You know, it's uncomfortable sometimes, but we do all share this uncomfortable rock together. So maybe we should find how to make it comfortable for all of us. That's the end of my bandstand, but
of it. I want some more of it, and I keep freezing up.
Yeah, you do.
How about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? Yes. Have you had any prolific and crazy dreams?
Yes, many of them are usually on reoccurring former life on Mars.
Oh wow, what?
Yeah, but that's
what are the telltales that you know you're on Mars? That's I guess my first question.
literally like way different. Like you can like jump and run like crazy, and straight up tornado things come and chase you. And it's like I had these dreams since I was a little kid, long before the Mars movie ever came out, where the tornado came out of the face. And it's like it happens in these reoccurring dreams. It's pretty wild.
That was a great movie. That was the same guy that did Back to the Future, I believe, The Mission to Mars. That was a great movie. Who?
That's is just a shared experience, I believe. Oh, and that yeah, my last dream was I don't dream that often, but when I do, let me tell you, the evil eye sky monster came out and was trying to eat. It ate like most of my family, most of humanity.
You froze again. Close out the homunculus.
I don't. It's the evil sky eye alien monster. And it was like a giant evil Pac-Man, but like eye that was like it was like a plasma eye.
Kind of like a black hole, or the event horizon around a black hole, I guess. Which would be
A
our
giant eyeball. It was a giant sky eye, but the pupil opened up into a bunch of razor teeth. So it's kind of like one of those freaking bottom of the Marianas Trench fish, but it was just a giant eye out of the sky, and it was like
I'm trying to
an alien.
You keep freezing, brother.
It did, like anything it ate kind of disappeared like a black hole.
Well, I've always found Nassim Haramein's black hole, WHOLE theory, very interesting, because if you look at an atom and you look at the superstructure of an atom, the center of an atom is a black hole, or at least the mathematics of it is. And it's the same with our sun. And so are we looking at the event horizon around a black hole? Obviously, its gravitational mass isn't enough currently to envelop our solar system, but what are suns? Are they black holes? And eventually they become black holes, which is what we see. Well, I think we see through all these, Hubble and James Webb Telescope activities. But yeah, black holes are very interesting. So you get interesting dreams, man. What are you eating? You should try and eat some blue cheese before you go to bed. There's something about the mold content in blue cheese, which comes, especially with Roquefort, it comes from fermenting orange peel in the cheese when they're putting it in the caves and whatnot. And so that mold will have some very interesting effects on your dream state for sure. Not promoting it, but I always eat cheese before I go to bed, and I have some awesome, amazing dreams.
I do enjoy cheese before bed quite often, but not too often.
Yeah, you should try like Roquefort or blue cheese before bed and just see where your dream state goes. Similar to the Amanita muscaria mushroom, obviously a lot of this helps with dream state, helps with sleep state. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Anyway, oof. But one of the other dreams I had recently was right before I went to LA. I've never had an inception dream before. I've had dreams within dreams, but never when the projections in your dreams realize that you're dreaming or you're the dreamer. And
LA went straight freaking Matrix Inception on you, hey?
Oh, this is before I went there.
Yeah, that was your onboarding of your conscious.
Kind of, yeah. So I was at a beach house in Hawaii. It was night, and there was a little tiny private beach. like tiny private beach, and on one hill was the main house, and then the property around to the other house, which is the guest house, which is where I was staying. And there was a truck parked in front of it, and we're somewhere off the road, like quite a ways down, another road and a path at the beach. I've never been to this property when I lived on Maui. I have no idea where it is. It's interesting. I'll get into it in a second. So I hear noise from the guest house down on the beach. And I'm like, is there a party going on? The owner of the house isn't here, so nobody should be on the beach. It's a private beach. So I went down to the beach and I started to mingle with the people on the beach who were all having a good time. They lit a bonfire, and I don't remember how many of them there were. And then all of a sudden the conversation stopped, and they turned and they looked at me. And they realized that I was the one having the dream. And all of a sudden I woke up from that, and I'm like, I thought I was awake, but I wasn't. I was in another dream, which was interesting. And then in that dream, I fell asleep, and I went back into the beach dream. And so, yeah, no, I don't even know how to describe it. I've never had a Matrix, Inception dream before where your projections realize that you're dreaming. And that to me really shocked me. So I'm hanging out with my friend the other night. We went out to a jazz concert last Tuesday, and then we hung out till the wee hours of the morning. And she told me about how she used to jungle hop when she lived on Maui. So she and her boyfriend basically built a pontoon in the middle of the jungle. And, we're eating from the natural, what's available. So you've got, what is it called? Well, you have guavas, and you've got avocados, and you've got ginger, but you also have like dog fruit. That's not what it is. It's something like that. And then there's another source of where they get poi from. It's kind of like it's an offshoot of radish, basically. And so they were living off of this. And she said she used to go party hop on the beaches at all these private resorts that are usually just Airbnbs. And the way she described this place that she went down to near Twin Falls on Maui blew my mind, because this literally was the place in my dream. And so I was like, I got to stop you in this conversation and talk about my dream all of a sudden, because you're describing the place that I was at in my dream, and I've never been there. And I know exactly, now that you're talking about where you went down to the beach, I know exactly where you were at, but I've never been down to that beach. So that kind of blew my mind. And so, yeah, we definitely have some overlays with reality and dreams, but what is different? We remember our lives and we remember our dreams very similarly. And so is there a crossover? I've talked about this on the show before. I get a bleed over effect sometimes where I can be talking to you right now, and I'm also walking down the streets of Kathmandu that I'm very familiar with, and I'm walking by specific shops, and I can tell you everything that's being sold in the shop, and the description of all the people and buffaloes and carts walking by. But it's as real as if I'm having this conversation with you in the same time frame. It's like a split time. Hans is schizophrenic. No, no, but I find it very interesting because we also remember dreams in the same light. The ones that we really remember are like the memories in our life that we really remember. Everything else is kind of foggy, but we have specific, nodal points in our life that we experience, obviously, and then we remember them as that experience. Yeah, it shifts over time, but I've always found this really fascinating. And when you look into the work of like William Gibson, interesting sci-fi writer, wrote Neuromancer and a bunch of other books. My favorite book of his is Iduru, because it talks about exploring those nodal points. And what are they? Their symbology within the dream space, basically, which you're kind of projecting here. And so I've always found that interesting, that dreams are as real as our own memories. And why is that? Okay, anyway.
Isn't this fascinating, this supposed...
What's that? You are frozen, Barney.
Can you see what's on screen? Can you hear me?
On screen's fine. We just can't hear what you're saying. So, yeah.
Son of a bee. How close it is.
How close it is
to the... No, it's not allowing me.
How close it is to what?
The Alchemy
does not like you tonight.
Symbol. No, it doesn't want that correlation to be made.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it does not want it to be made. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me? And you're frozen again. Some interesting stuff in the chat. So deja vu. Yeah, deja vu is very interesting.
Hello, can you hear me now?
I get a very interesting sensation with deja vu. At least that's what I call it. I get a very sharp smell in my nose, like an ozone, and I get a full body flush, and then I get this very interesting metallic taste in my mouth. And
amazing. You're not the only one that said that.
My auditory also goes, like I get a pinning, and I can tell you everything that's going to happen within the next 2 minutes after that. It's mind-blowing. I call it my deja vu moment. It happens very, very rarely. I had a friend that this happened to as well when she was driving in LA, and she crashed her car, but she was like, I could tell you everything that was on the radio before it even happened. I mean, she's never had this experience before, and they thought that she had a seizure when she checked herself into the hospital. So
I was gonna say, Hans, are you having a stroke? But I was just kidding, because you're not the only one to give that.
Are you there, Bernie?
Man, why does it does not want us to have this conversation today?
People don't want to learn about dreams, or they don't want us to talk about dreams. So I guess half my collar was up all night.
Oh, it's not my mic. It is
your connection. Yeah.
It is the connection. See,
everybody hears me, I hope. Oh. I'm sure I'm cutting out as well, so. Your mic is a slut. Love that.
How slutty is it?
Nothing, tra-la-la. We miss you, David Bowie. God damn it.
It's killing.
Yes, Wi-Fi does suck. I've upgraded to, sadly, a 5G fiber cord, which is amazing. I have 2 ion or negative ion emitters in my living room as a result. And it's funny, the second I turn on, my cat sleeps in front of it from time to time. She knows what's up. Spank that slut. Do it, Bernie. Do it live.
Man, freaking spank the internet connection signal somehow. But we're
No, we're not.
an hour in. Is pretty epic. Pretty epic. Any final things to go over, Mr. Hans, while I'm freezing out here?
So I have an interesting book that most people should look into. It's called The Third Millennium, A History of the World 2000 to 3000. And this book is fascinating. Not only does it have the famous Earth model that we all know about. I won't get into that because I'm not a flat earther. But there are some predictions in this book that are mind-blowing, like the Arab Spring, like almost to the day, but the wrong city. And just there's some mind-blowing things in here. I need to actually go back through it now that we've gone further into the time. But everything in this book is like super amazing. These are all the chapters or the contents. I never get these things right. And just mind-blowing. Seriously mind-blowing. I don't know. It's kind of a difficult book to find. A friend of mine got me onto this years and years ago, and it sat on my shelf. I borrowed his book, and then I end up buying my own and giving it back. But we've gone through it end to end, and there's some pretty fascinating stuff in there. And it came out in 1984, which is interesting because, you know, what was happening in 1984 where they're predicting the future. So there's a lot of, you know, time crossovers with 1984. Philip K. Dick's books. We've got, what was his name? Titor, that came back from the future and was trying to find a certain model of an IBM computer. That was all 1984 as well, I believe. So, yeah, I might be wrong on that one, but it was all within that time period. And so I've always found it a fascinating year. But this book, yeah, The Third Millennium, definitely worth picking up and reading through it because there's some mind-blowing technology ideas in there as well as, you know, future history that we could go down if we chose. So
we must connect with the ancestors and our past to free ourselves for a better future.
We are the future. We are right now, and that's, you know, time is irrelevant. When you say I'm gonna do something and wake up tomorrow and do something, when you wake up tomorrow, it's still right now, right? It's
yes, and thus you must do it. And when I wake up tomorrow, which is right now, I must get to work. So on that note, I must get some sleep. Love you, Hans. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having to talk about dream science and symbology.
Absolutely epic episode, my friend, and we will do this again hopefully next week. And until then, love you, brother. Love you all. Okay. Just cause it's WooWoo Wednesday.
I'm sweet. I got a beat. Just look at me. What do you see? Puppet, pineapple, I'm a pineapple, puppet, pineapple, I'm a pineapple, puppet, pineapple, I'm a pineapple, puppet, pineapple, I'm a pineapple.
pineapple owl.
You crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just Bernie. Bernie, just like last week, huh?
Weekend at Bernie's.